Okay, now we're on page 677 in chapter 10. On the second part, to format the command button in text box controls. And let's scroll back up a little bit so our book looks a little bit more like the one in the textbook. And we need to go to the developer tab and make sure we're in design mode, which we are. And we want to select the two command buttons, so I'm going to right click on that, and then I'm going to go down here and control right click on that one, so I've got handles around both. And then I'm going to right click and I want the properties. Actually, that's not the one. I want properties from up here. And I want the back color. And this gives me a little palette. Okay, choose palette. And I want this gray color. And for font, click on font, we get the three dots over here. And for font, I want bold. And looks like we don't have to change the size or the font name or anything, so we just leave it at that. For color, click on the down arrow, go to palette, and for the for color, we want column 8, row 5, which would be this one. And set the word wrap and shadow properties to true. Word wrap, just click on the down arrow here and set it to true. And the shadow property is true as well. And it looks like I missed a selection here. I was supposed to include the text box in that as well. So we'll just go to properties here, and I'll stop the recording for a second and select the same things that I did for the command button. Okay, now I've got them all three looking the same way. And I want the height. Now let's select all of them again. So I'm doing a control click on these, and let's go to format here, and for the height of each one I want 50.25, and for the width of each one, and I must have made a mistake there. Now obviously they're using some other units than normally. This is inches, so I'm going to try setting the height of each one of these to about 1 inch, and we'll set the width to about 3 inches. And that looks pretty close to what they've got in the book. If there's some other way to select the units here, I'm obviously missing it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move all of these up just a little bit here, and I'm going to align them on the left, and then I'm going to space them vertically so they're spaced out like that. And then I need to set each one of the captions here, so let's select one at a time. Let's right click on this one and go to properties, and the caption for the first one is step 1, okay, and looks like I made mine a little bit bigger than they did. And now let's go back here and it doesn't let us resize them all. So I'm going to set the width for each one to about 2.5, and okay, that looks close enough. Okay, then we need to go to this one, choose its properties, and find its okay, this one does not have a caption property. This one has a text property, and we want step 2. Use buttons and boxes to select the answers to questions. And let's close that. And now the word wrap property was supposed to be on, turned on for that, and it is. We also need multi-line to be turned on here. Now let's see what that looks like. There we go. And down here, properties, and command buttons have a caption property. And step 3, click to submit information, and there we go. So the text is the same. My text boxes apparently are just a little bit wider than theirs because I get a little more text on each line, but otherwise everything else looks okay. We want the text box here, properties, and we want its special effect set to 1, which is raised. It kind of looks like a button. And set the text. We've already done that. Close the properties window, and now we're at the top of page 679. And we need to assign some names to some cells. Okay. And we're going to go to the Formulas tab here, and we're going to go to the Name Manager. And we're going to click New, and we're going to enter a last name. And we want A39. So let's click on this, and let's go to A39, and there we go. Let's go back here, click on OK. You see it's added. Notice those other two tables we've got are also listed here that we referred to when we were doing those index instructions a little bit ago. And we've got to do this for a whole bunch of them. We've got to do this for everything that is on the top of page 679. So I also want a new first name, and that is going to refer to B39, which is down here, and hit enter and click on OK. And I want another new one, and for street address. By the way, the reason we're putting underscores in here is it's not legal to put spaces in anything that you give a name to in Excel. So we want C39 for address. Click on OK. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the rest of these here, and then I'll be back. Okay, I've got them all typed in, and let's widen these a little bit so you can see what we've actually got here. And all the ones that end in row 39 here are the ones that I just typed in. So all I did was go to New, type in the name that you see here, and then go down to the refers to box and click on the appropriate cell. Okay, now the other thing we need to do at the top of page 679 is we need to go to all of those cells. Let's go to C4 here, And we need to put a reference in, equals A39. C5 has to say equals B39. And C6 is equals C39. And C7 is equals D39. And F7, that would be here, is equal to E39. H7 is equal to F39. C8 is equal to G39. And F8 is equal to H39. Okay. And that takes us to the bottom of page 680. Now let's move to the top of page 681. And we need to select our button over here and click the View Code button. And it's going to take us into the code that's going to get executed when we click on this button. And this is all the stuff that's at the bottom of page 681, and I'm going to pause and type that in now. And you need to be very, very careful about how you type that in. If you want to, you can leave the comments out. The comments are lines 1 through 5 that show up in green because they don't really affect anything. And just type in what's on lines 6 through 15. Okay, I'm back. I've got everything typed in. What we're doing here is we're using the names that we created, using the name manager a little bit ago. So these have to, what's in quotation marks in each one of these lines has to match exactly what we typed in before, otherwise it's not going to know what range we're talking about. So double check these, make sure you've got underscores connecting everything. And you can also do a copy and a paste here because every line is basically the same except for what's between the quotation marks here and what's between the quotation marks over here. Over here on the right, this is just a prompt that shows up, and it really doesn't matter how you spell that. As a matter of fact, I changed a couple of things here. Instead of zip code, I type zip. It'll still work the same, but when the input box appears on the screen, it's just going to say zip instead of zip code. He had telephone number, and I just changed that to phone number, but mine will still work the same. But what goes over here on the left side between the quotation marks must be an exact match to what's in the textbook. And we need to do the same thing for this other button here. And we can also get to this just by double clicking. And now we have to type in the stuff that is on page 682, and I'm just going to pause the recording and enter that in. And again, you can leave out lines 1 through 5. Those are just comments. Okay, I've now typed in everything on page 682 except for the comments, which really don't matter. Now we're at the top of page 683, and in the immediate box here, if that's not already there, do Control G to open it, and we're going to type in active sheet dot group boxes dot visible equals false and enter key. Okay, and now if we close this and go back over here, and if we look at, there was a group box around this stuff, and we just entered a command to make that invisible. And we're up to about 14 or 15 minutes now again, so I'm going to stop here and we'll continue with another video.